When I reach out to grab a piece of bacon, I smile. That's a perfect example of making emotional connections from your environment, and that's exactly what my guest today will be teaching all of you. He's a character actor, stunt performer, film and television coach, Jim Doherty, here to hang out with us. What's up, Jim?
Cody, how you doing, man?
Good, how are you?
It's good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're glad that you're here. You've appeared on popular shows like Ozark, Chicago PD. For people who couldn't imagine what that's like, what's it like being on a set like that, of that magnitude?
Well, Chicago PD is interesting because when we shot that, I have a scene in there that's about 3 pages long, and that's a day's shooting, but we did it in an hour and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very efficient. That crew is so in tune with one another. We went into a pet store for my scene, and we got in there, and in an hour and a half they lit it. We had a 4-camera setup. We shot, stunt gags and everything in there, and we got out of there in 90 minutes. It was amazing. Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. So television is very fast-paced.
Yeah.
Very fast-paced.
It has to be, right? Because, I mean, it's money if you're not.
They shoot a whole episode in 8 days.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
You have a workshop coming up this Saturday, tapping emotions through physiological work. Excuse me.
Yes.
What's going to be in that? What does that entail?
What we really work on in that sort of content is the idea that when we experience emotions, we have a physiological response. And actors, if you go back to old school Stanislavski and everything, there's a whole thing about emotional memory and reliving past traumas in order to bring something to the moment. And this actually allows you to do that work in a physiological way so that you're not getting your head outside of the content of the piece that you're working on by bringing in something from your past life. And the further away you get from that, the more disconnected you get to it anyway. Yeah. And so physiologically, it's like you know what your body feels like when you're feeling fear, sadness, anger. There are certain muscles that tense up. There's certain breathing that happens. And that's the kind of exercises we do as we start to work on the idea of if you tense up this set of muscles, if you do this with your face, if you put a leading center here instead of there, this is what's going to happen to you physiologically, and the emotions will then flow.
Is there, and this is some of this may be opinion based, but do you think that you could get too emotional if you're trying to play a role and some people think, oh, I'm just going to tap into something that did make me sad, my dog dying, whatever.
Right.
But then you're not focused on the role at hand, right? I mean, that's kind of the idea there. Is that something that can happen to people?
Or it has happened to people, absolutely. You get, and that's one of the reasons why, if you go back, to the early part of the 2000s or 1900s, why Michael Chekhov, who was a student of Konstantin Stanislavski, developed this system because he felt like the other system can be psychologically damaging to the actor.
Wow.
And look at Heath Ledger.
Sure, absolutely. That's a prime example people bring up a lot of times.
Exactly.
When you, speaking from your perspective, your career, if someone's out there thinking, man, I'd really like to get into acting, but I don't know if I'm cut out for it, I mean, what advice do you have for people who are on the idea of doing that? If you have the idea and the desire to do it, don't not try.
Sure.
You might as well, because everybody can learn this craft. Some take a lot more time than others, but everyone can learn it. There's techniques, and once you learn technique, you can bring that character to life. So if you have the desire to go and become an actor, go do it.
Yeah.
Find a class, learn to act, and you never know what that's going to do for you. One of the things we talk about with acting is it's a journey of self-discovery. And a lot of the students I have are older. They've worked their full lives. They're retiring now, and I always wanted to get into acting, and I never did it.
Yeah.
And so I have people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, coming in. I have people that are in high school. I have people, so I have people from all walks of life, all ages that come in because they just, I'm in the middle of Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And there's not a big market here, but there's stuff that does come through here. But we're really close to a lot of other markets where projects are shooting all the time. So this is a really prime area for people to train because they can geographically get to location. And I've got a lot of students that are working in Chicago. I've got people that have been on all kinds of, one of my I'm going to say my best students is Katie O'Brien.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Katie was a cop in Carmel.
Yeah.
And grew up around here, and she now is, she's on Mandalorian, multiple episodes.
Yeah.
She was Jentora in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So people can learn the craft and they can learn the business, and that's the thing. The business is the important thing to learn, because without the business knowledge, you can't move forward.
And if you want to learn more on that, you can go to allindiana.tv.
Jim, thank you so much for coming and spending time with us and sharing your knowledge. Lots of fun. Appreciate it.